It was a rainy evening in Eldridge, the kind of night when shadows danced on the walls and the air crackled with tension. 17-year-old Leo Hartman was at home, sprawled on the couch, trying to focus on his homework. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows of the old Victorian house that had been in his family for generations. That's when he heard it, a soft, persistent tapping coming from the window. Curious, Leo glanced up and saw a figure standing outside, drenched but clearly visible in the flickering light of the street lamp. His heart skipped a beat. It was a girl, soaked to the bone, with a wild look in her eyes. Without thinking, he rushed to the door. "Are you okay?" he asked, pulling it open to let her in. "Please, I need your help," she gasped, shivering. "My name is Ava. I think someone is following me." Leo quickly ushered her inside and shut the door against the storm. "What do you mean? Who is following you?" "I don't know," she replied, her voice trembling. "I was just out for a walk when I felt like someone was watching me. I thought I was imagining it, but when I turned around, I saw a figure in the distance. They've been following me ever since." Concerned but intrigued, Leo offered her a towel and a warm drink. As Ava warmed up, she shared her story. She had recently moved to Eldridge, drawn by its eerie beauty and the old legends that surrounded it. But since her arrival, strange occurrences had followed her, whispers in the night, shadows that flitted past her windows, and now this sense of being watched. Leo felt an inexplicable connection to her story. His own life had been quiet, almost too quiet, and he found himself wanting to help her. "Let's investigate," he suggested, a thrill coursing through him. "If someone is really following you, we need to find out who it is." Ava nodded, her expression shifting from fear to determination. Together, they decided to check the neighborhood. As they ventured outside, the rain had lessened to a drizzle, and the street was slick and glistening. With each step, Leo's pulse quickened. They started by retracing Ava's path from earlier, their breaths visible in the cool night air. Suddenly, a shadow darted behind a nearby tree. Leo's heart raced. "Did you see that?" he whispered. "Yeah," Ava replied, her eyes wide. "We should check it out." They approached cautiously, hearts pounding, and as they neared the tree, Leo noticed something glinting on the ground, a small, silver locket. He picked it up, flipping it over to reveal a delicate engraving, "To my beloved. Always watching." Ava's breath caught in her throat. "I've seen that before. It belonged to a girl who went missing last year." Realizing they were now deeper in the mystery than they had anticipated, Leo looked at Ava, determination igniting in their eyes. They were no longer just two teenagers caught in a storm. They were on the brink of uncovering something far more sinister than either had imagined. The rain had tapered off, leaving a heavy silence in its wake as Leo and Ava stood by the tree, the locket cold and heavy in Leo's palm. He felt a shiver run down his spine, realizing they were now connected to a mystery that stretched far beyond their small town. Who was she? Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Maybe we should look into it, Leo suggested, a flicker of excitement mingling with the fear coursing through him. We can start at the library. I've heard they have archives about past residents. They hurried back to Leo's house, the locket safely tucked away in his pocket. The thought of uncovering the truth fueled their resolve, but a nagging sense of dread lingered in the air. After a quick snack and a change of clothes, they set out for the Eldridge Public Library, a stone building filled with dusty tomes and hidden corners. As they stepped inside, the familiar scent of aged paper enveloped them. The librarian, an elderly woman with spectacles perched on the tip of her nose, gave them a curious look, but said nothing as they made their way to the back of the building. Leo led Ava to the local history section, where they began sifting through old newspapers and records. Hours passed, filled with the rustling of pages and the dim light of flickering lamps. They found articles detailing the town's history, but it was an old photograph that captured their attention, a group of girls posing in front of Blackwood Manor. Each face radiating joy, except one. This must be her. Ava pointed to a girl with dark hair and a bright smile, standing to the side. Her name was Emily Sinclair. It says she went missing a year ago, after a party at the manor. Leo felt a chill as he read further. The article described Emily's disappearance as part of a string of strange events surrounding the manor, including tales of ghost sightings and whispers of a hidden chamber within its walls. What if whatever happened to Emily is connected to what's going on now? Leo mused, a sense of urgency creeping in. Ava nodded, her brow furrowed in thought. If someone is following me, maybe they're connected to Emily's disappearance. 2. We need to know more about what happened that night. They decided to dig deeper, searching for any mention of the party at Blackwood Manor. Eventually, they unearthed a few more articles that recounted the event, focusing on the excitement it had generated in the town. But as they read on, the tone shifted. Some guests reported feeling uneasy, experiencing strange occurrences during the night, objects moving, eerie music playing without a source, and a sensation of being watched. Leo felt the weight of the locket in his pocket, a tangible reminder of their connection to this dark history. We should go to the manor, he said, determination setting in. If there are answers, they might be hidden there. Ava hesitated, the thought clearly unsettling her. But it's dangerous. What if whoever is following me is there? Then we'll be ready, Leo replied, his voice steady. We can't let fear stop us. We owe it to Emily and to yourself. With a reluctant nod, Ava agreed, her resolve strengthening. They gathered their belongings, the locket resting heavily in Leo's pocket, as they headed out into the fading light of day. As they approached the manor, its towering silhouette loomed over them like a specter of the past. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it the echoes of long-forgotten secrets. Together, they stood at the entrance, hearts pounding with both fear and anticipation, ready to confront whatever awaited them inside. The air was thick with tension as Leo and Ava stepped through the creaking door of Blackwood Manor. The dim light from the setting sun filtered through the cracked windows, casting long shadows that danced across the dusty floor. The familiar scent of mildew mixed with something almost floral, an echo of the grandeur that once filled the halls. Are you sure about this? Ava whispered, her voice barely above a breath. Leo nodded, determination etched on his face. We need to find answers. They moved cautiously through the foyer, the heavy silence wrapping around them like a shroud. Dust motes floated in the air, illuminated by the fading light. Leo's heart raced as he took in the grand staircase and the portraits that lined the walls, each face frozen in time, watching their every move. Where should we start? Ava asked, glancing nervously at the staircase. The party happened in the ballroom, Leo suggested, pointing toward a set of double doors at the end of the hall. Let's see if we can find anything there. As they approached the doors, Leo felt a cold draft brush past him, making the hair on the back of his neck stand on end. He exchanged a quick glance with Ava, who looked equally uneasy. With a deep breath, he pushed open the heavy doors, revealing the grand ballroom. The room was vast, with a high ceiling adorned with intricate moldings, and a once majestic chandelier hanging precariously above. Torn curtains swayed gently in the breeze from the broken windows, and the floor was littered with remnants of forgotten celebrations, broken glass, discarded decorations, and, oddly, a single red rose, wilted and decaying. Wow, Ava murmured, taking in the scene. It's beautiful and sad. Leo stepped further inside, drawn to the far wall where an ornate mirror stood. It was covered in a layer of dust, but he could still see the faint outline of the room reflected back at him. As he approached, he noticed something strange. Another shadow seemed to linger just behind his reflection. Did you see that? He asked, turning to Ava, but she was staring at the floor, her expression tense. Leo, look, she said, pointing. Footprints. They lead to that door. Following her gaze, Leo spotted a set of muddy footprints leading toward a small door at the side of the room, partially obscured by an old curtain. Heart pounding, he made his way to the door, glancing back at Ava, who was watching him with wide eyes. Should we? she asked, her voice trembling. We have to, Leo replied, pulling the door open. It creaked ominously, revealing a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. Wait, Ava said, grabbing his arm. What if we find something we're not prepared for? Leo hesitated, the uncertainty flooding back. We've come this far. Besides, it could lead us to the answers about Emily. With one last look at the ballroom, they descended the staircase, the air growing cooler as they moved deeper into the manor. The steps creaked beneath them, and the darkness enveloped them like a heavy blanket. As they reached the bottom, Leo pulled out his phone, using its flashlight to pierce the gloom. They found themselves in a small underground chamber, the walls damp and covered in moss. The air was stale, and a strange smell lingered, like something forgotten. In the center of the room stood an old wooden table, and on it lay a dusty journal. Do you think it's? Ava started, her eyes wide with anticipation. Let's see, Leo said, carefully picking it up. He opened the journal, revealing pages filled with elegant handwriting. It belonged to Emily Sinclair. His heart raced as he scanned the entries, recounting her experiences leading up to the party. Emily wrote about strange occurrences, feelings of being watched, and dreams of a hidden chamber where the past seemed to come alive. The last entry sent chills down Leo's spine. I feel like I'm being drawn to something in the manor. There's a secret here, and I must uncover it before it's too late. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the chamber, making both of them jump. The door they had entered through slammed shut, sealing them in darkness. Leo! Ava cried, panic rising in her voice. He felt around for the doorknob, but found it locked tight. We have to find another way out. As they moved deeper into the chamber, Leo caught sight of something shimmering in the corner. It was a small, ornate box, half buried in the dirt. With trembling hands, he opened it, revealing a collection of old trinkets, photographs, and a locket. Ava gasped, recognizing it instantly. It looks just like the one we found. They exchanged a glance, realization dawning upon them. This was no coincidence. Whatever had happened to Emily was now pulling them into its web. As the shadows closed in around them, they understood that they were not just searching for answers. They were becoming part of the mystery itself. The darkness in the chamber felt suffocating, and Leo's heart raced as he held the ornate box in his hands. Ava's breath quickened beside him, her eyes wide with both fear and fascination. We need to get out of here, Leo said urgently, glancing back at the locked door. But first, let's see what's in this box. He carefully pulled out the locket, its surface cool against his fingers. Ava leaned closer, her eyes sparkling with recognition. It looks just like the one we found in the woods. Do you think it belonged to Emily? I think so, Leo replied, his mind racing. He opened the locket, revealing a tiny photograph of Emily and a boy, both smiling brightly. This must be her and someone close to her. Ava's expression shifted as she studied the photograph. That looks like the guy I saw at the party in the old photos, the one standing next to her. Maybe he knows what happened, Leo mused, turning the locket over in his hand. He felt a weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. We have to find out who he is. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the chamber changed. The air grew colder, and Leo could feel a presence around them, as if the very walls were listening. Do you hear that? Ava whispered, her voice quivering. Leo strained to listen. At first, it was just the sound of their breathing, but then he heard it, a faint whisper, like a distant echo, drifting through the air. It seemed to call to them, luring them deeper into the shadows. Follow it, Leo said, feeling an inexplicable pull. It might lead us to the answers we need. They moved cautiously, following the whispers as they grew clearer, weaving through the darkness. The chamber opened up into another room, and as they entered, Leo's flashlight flickered, illuminating strange symbols etched into the walls. What is this place? Ava asked, stepping closer to examine the markings. It looks like some sort of ritual space, Leo replied, his voice tinged with awe. Maybe connected to the stories about the manor. At the center of the room was a large stone table, covered with more trinkets, candles, bones, and remnants of what looked like offerings. Leo felt a sense of dread wash over him. This is bad. We should go. But Ava remained rooted in place, her eyes drawn to a large, ornate mirror standing against the far wall. It was unlike the others, framed with intricate carvings that seemed to pulse with energy. Leo, look at the mirror, she said, a mix of fear and fascination in her voice. As they approached, Leo felt an unsettling sensation wash over him. The surface of the mirror shimmered, reflecting not just their images, but something else, glimpses of a past filled with laughter, music, and then chaos. They saw a vision of the party at Blackwood Manor, people dancing, lights flashing, and then, a sudden darkness. What is happening? Leo gasped, stepping back. It's like a memory, Ava said, transfixed. But it's all mixed up. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, swirling around them like a storm. Help us, they pleaded. Find the truth. Who are you? Leo shouted, feeling the panic rise within him. Emily. Ava cried, pointing at the mirror. I think she's trying to tell us something. In a burst of clarity, Leo understood. They weren't just seeing a memory, they were witnessing the moment Emily had felt something was wrong, the moment before she vanished. "Find the key," the whispers urged. "The truth lies within." As the vision faded, Leo's gaze fell to the box at his feet, and the locket within. The key. Maybe it's not just a physical key. It could be something we're missing. Maybe the locket is connected to the hidden chamber she mentioned in her journal, Ava said, her voice trembling with excitement. What if it leads us to where she was trying to go? Determined, Leo held the locket tightly. We have to find that hidden chamber. It has to be here. Somewhere in the manor. Just then, a loud crash echoed through the chamber, and the walls seemed to vibrate. The whispers turned into frantic shouts, urging them to leave. "Leo! We have to go now!" Ava yelled, panic rising in her voice. With no time to waste, they turned and raced back toward the staircase. As they ascended, the air grew heavier, and the walls seemed to pulse with energy, almost as if the manor itself was alive, aware of their presence. When they reached the ballroom, Leo's heart sank. The double doors were now shut tight, blocking their escape. "We're trapped," Ava shouted, her voice echoing against the walls. "No, wait," Leo said, scanning the room for an alternative. "What if we look for a hidden passage? Emily wrote about it. It has to be somewhere in here." Ava nodded, determination sparking in her eyes. They hurriedly searched the walls, running their hands over the ornate carvings, feeling for any irregularities. Just as despair began to set in, Leo's fingers brushed against a small, almost imperceptible lever hidden in the intricate woodwork. "Here!" he exclaimed, pulling the lever down with all his strength. With a loud rumble, the wall beside them shifted, revealing a narrow passageway shrouded in darkness. Without hesitation, they stepped inside, the whispers fading behind them as the door sealed shut. Inside the passage, the air was cooler, and a faint light glimmered ahead. As they moved deeper, Leo felt a sense of hope surge within him. They were on the brink of uncovering the truth, ready to confront whatever awaited them in the hidden depths of Blackwood Manor. As Leo and Ava ventured deeper into the narrow passage, the faint light ahead flickered like a candle's glow. The walls were lined with old stone, and the air grew heavier with each step. Thick with the scent of damp earth and forgotten memories. "Do you think we're close?" Ava asked, glancing nervously around. "Yeah, I can feel it," Leo replied, his heart pounding with anticipation. "We're about to uncover whatever Emily wanted us to find." The passage opened into a small chamber, dimly lit by the glow of several candles arranged on a stone altar at the center. The flickering light illuminated a series of drawings on the walls, depicting the history of Blackwood Manor and its previous inhabitants. Ava stepped closer to examine the drawings. These? They're all about the rituals and gatherings that took place here, she said, tracing her fingers over the faded images. And look. She pointed to a specific image of a group of people, Emily among them, standing in front of a doorway marked with the same symbols they had seen earlier. This must be the hidden chamber she was searching for, Leo said, his excitement mounting. We have to find that doorway. As they searched the chamber, Leo noticed a loose stone near the altar. He reached down and pulled it away, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside lay an old, ornate key, rusted but still intact. Is this it? Ava asked, her eyes wide. It has to be, Leo replied, feeling the weight of the key in his hand. We should try it on the door in the ballroom. They hurried back through the passage, retracing their steps with a renewed sense of urgency. When they reached the ballroom, the atmosphere felt different. The air was charged, almost electric, as if the manor itself was holding its breath. Leo approached the double doors, the ornate key trembling in his palm. Here goes nothing, he said, inserting the key into the lock. With a click, the door creaked open, revealing a hidden room bathed in an ethereal light. Inside, the air was still, and the atmosphere felt sacred. The walls were adorned with more symbols. And at the center stood a pedestal with a single, intricately carved box. What is this place? Ava breathed, stepping inside. I think this is where it all happened, Leo said, his voice low. This is the heart of the manor's secrets. He approached the pedestal, opening the box to reveal an assortment of items. A collection of locket photographs, an old diary, and a delicate necklace, each piece meticulously preserved. Among them was a final, pristine locket that mirrored the one they had found. This is Emily's, Ava said, recognizing it immediately. It's like she wanted us to find it. Leo carefully lifted the diary from the box, opening it to find Emily's final entries. The words were frantic, filled with fear and urgency. She wrote about the party, the ominous feelings she had, and her realization that the manor held a powerful secret, a way to communicate with those who had vanished. She was trying to warn us, Leo said, scanning the pages. It wasn't just a party, it was a ritual gone wrong. As he read further, the whispers that had haunted them began to coalesce into a clearer message. Emily had discovered that the manor was built on a site of old magic, and the rituals performed had awakened something dark. Something that had taken her and potentially others, trapping their souls in the manor. We have to end this, Ava said, her voice firm. We can't let it continue. With a deep breath, Leo nodded. We need to perform a counter-ritual. If Emily's spirit is still here, we can help her find peace. They gathered the items from the box, feeling the weight of their purpose. Following the drawings on the walls, They set up the items around the room, mimicking the symbols they had seen. With the locket and diary as focal points, they began to recite Emily's last entries aloud, invoking the energy of the manor to guide them. As they spoke, the atmosphere shifted, the air crackled, and a soft glow enveloped them. They could feel the presence of something, or someone, awakening around them. Emily. Leo called out, his voice resonating through the chamber. We're here to help you. The room began to tremble, and the shadows deepened, swirling like a storm. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the light, a faint silhouette of a girl, Emily. Her expression was a mix of relief and sorrow, as if she had been waiting for this moment for too long. Thank you, she whispered, her voice echoing softly in the chamber. I've been trapped. Lost. But you found me. Leo and Ava held their breath, the weight of the moment pressing down on them. We're here to set you free, Ava said, her voice trembling with emotion. As they continued to recite the words, the energy in the room peaked, filling it with warmth and light. Emily's figure began to glow brighter, her features becoming clearer. Remember me, she said, her voice growing stronger. I was just trying to help them, but it went wrong. With one final incantation, the light surged, and Emily's spirit enveloped them, lifting the heaviness that had filled the manor for so long. As the light faded, they felt a release, a sense of peace washing over them. When the glow dimmed, the room was still again. The box on the pedestal remained, but Emily's presence was gone. They had done it. It's over, Leo whispered, overwhelmed with relief. Ava nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. We did it together. They exited the hidden room, the weight of the manor's secrets lifting. As they stepped back into the ballroom, they felt the atmosphere change. The oppressive energy that had once filled the space was replaced with a sense of calm and lightness. Hand in hand, they made their way outside, breathing in the fresh night air. The stars shone brightly above, and the fog that had once cloaked Eldridge began to lift, revealing a new dawn. They had uncovered the truth, not just about Emily, but about themselves, courageous, resilient, and forever changed by the mysteries they had unraveled. As they looked back at Blackwood Manor, its silhouette now softened by the moonlight, they knew their lives would never be the same. Together, they had faced the shadows, and in doing so, had illuminated the path forward, ready to embrace whatever came next.